To understand the Rwandan genocide, you have to understand what colonialism did to the country before it happened. Rwanda was colonized by Germany, then Belgium. The Belgians introduced something that had not previously existed in Rwanda as a rigid social category: the distinction between Hutu and Tutsi. Before colonization, Hutu and Tutsi were fluid social categories, largely economic, not ethnic. A Hutu who acquired cattle could become Tutsi. A Tutsi who lost cattle could become Hutu. The Belgians made them fixed. They issued identity cards. They decided, based on pseudo-scientific racial theory, that the Tutsi were a superior race, closer to Europeans, and gave them administrative power over the Hutu majority. Then, in 1962, Belgium granted Rwanda independence and left. The Hutu majority took power. The Tutsi, who had been elevated by the colonizers, became the target of the resentment that had been building for decades. Between 1962 and 1994, there were periodic massacres of Tutsi. Each one was smaller than the last. Each one was tolerated by the international community. In 1990, the Rwandan Patriotic Front, a Tutsi rebel army based in Uganda, invaded Rwanda. A civil war began. Peace negotiations in 1993 produced the Arusha Accords, which were supposed to end the conflict. On April 6, 1994, the plane carrying Rwandan President Habyarimana was shot down over Kigali. Within hours, the killing began. The organizers of the genocide had been planning for months. The weapons had been imported. The lists had been made. The radio station, Radio Mille Collines, had been broadcasting anti-Tutsi propaganda for years, calling Tutsi inyenzi, cockroaches. When the president's plane went down, the signal went out, and the killing began with a speed and efficiency that shocked even experienced genocide researchers. The international response was a failure at every level. The United States refused to use the word genocide because using the word would have triggered legal obligations to act. State Department officials were instructed to say acts of genocide may have occurred. France, which had been a close ally of the Habyarimana government, continued to support the genocidal regime during the killing. By the time the Rwandan Patriotic Front ended the genocide in July 1994, between 800,000 and 1 million people were dead. The country had been destroyed, and the international community had watched.
The radio told them who to kill. Not a rumor, not a whisper. A radio station, broadcasting names, addresses, descriptions, instructions. And people listened. Command sent us to Rwanda in April of 1994. We were there for 6 days. In those 6 days, approximately 48,000 people were killed. That is not a typo. The Rwandan genocide lasted 100 days. 800,000 people, some estimates say over 1 million, were killed with machetes, clubs, and farm tools. By their neighbors. By people they had known their entire lives. We need to stop here, because there is something about this genocide that separates it from almost every other mass killing in history. The world knew it was happening, in real time. It chose to do nothing. We arrived 3 days after the killing began. The UN peacekeeping force was already there, 2,500 soldiers. Their commander, Canadian General Romeo Dallaire, had sent a fax to UN headquarters in New York 3 months earlier. He had a source inside the planning operation. He knew what was coming. He asked for permission to raid the weapons caches before it started. New York told him no. When the killing began, Dallaire's soldiers were ordered not to intervene. They watched. Some of them never recovered from what they saw. received it. We don't know what they did with it. 800,000 people, 100 days. The world had the information it needed to stop it. Subscribe, because the next report is about a man who used terror as a tool.